The Examiner on the attack on Iran. Understanding conflict, fear, and power when escalation becomes real. The recent military campaign against Iran, described by U.S. and Israeli officials as a decisive operation targeting Iranian leadership, missile sites, and strategic capabilities, has shattered a long-standing threshold of regional tension. What has unfolded is not a discrete strike, but an escalation that radiates far beyond the battleground. The immediate trigger was a coordinated series of strikes by U.S. and Israeli forces that reportedly killed Iran's supreme leader and dozens of officials in Tehran, an action justified publicly as necessary to degrade perceived imminent threats. In response, Iran unleashed waves of ballistic missiles and drones across the Gulf, striking military and infrastructure targets in multiple countries, including attacks on airports and offshore energy infrastructure, and drawing Allied forces deeper into a widening conflict. This exchange illustrates a hard lesson. In geopolitics, violence begets violence, especially when neither side sees a way to step back without appearing weak. Iran's actions are grounded in decades of adversarial posture, reinforced by militia networks and strategic distrust, while U.S. and Israeli policy has increasingly interpreted preemption as a form of deterrence. The strategic backgrounds are essential to understanding why this conflict has spiraled. For years, Iran's regional posture, including support for proxy forces and its own missile and nuclear ambitions, has created a narrative of existential threat among its rivals. In return, strikes against Iranian infrastructure and leadership signal a belief among some Western policymakers that halting such threats requires force. Neither side reduces the other's fear, they amplify it. The risks now emerging from this confrontation extend beyond immediate casualties and destroyed targets. Regional instability is rising as states cope with retaliation, proxy extensions, and the erosion of diplomatic channels. Global economic systems, particularly energy markets and aviation, are already feeling impact as vital infrastructure becomes a target and neutral states wrestle with the pressures of alignment. Unanswered terror, whether from state actors, proxies, or asymmetric threats, rarely goes away when confronted solely with force. Instead, unresolved grievances become embedded in the strategies of states and non-state groups alike. Escalation cycles can harden identities, making negotiated exit even harder. This is the paradox of violence in strategic contexts. Decisive action can solve tactical problems without addressing the underlying conditions that created them. If history teaches anything, it is that conflicts rooted in fear and contested narratives tend to persist long after the initial violence. The danger now isn't only further attack, it is the certainty that each side believes its choices are the only viable ones, narrowing the space for diplomacy. And when legitimacy rests solely in capability, consequences extend far beyond the intent. This has been The Examiner.